Vancouver, it's time to vote. Learn more about the levies on the ballot to support local students. Plus, Nick Vole shows us how special education students are using technology. Tara Cox has an update on school construction, and Amanda Richter shows us how students are injecting kindness into their school community. Let's go inside Vancouver Public Schools. Live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up. Hello and welcome inside Vancouver Public Schools. I'm Coleen Jamison. We have some important information for you this episode and some stuff that will definitely make you smile too. Speaking of that, let's do our top 3. These are our favorite social media posts from all around the district. Our number 3 comes from Franklin Elementary School, where they had a kindness week. It's an annual event where kids and staff focus on how they treat each other on a daily basis. Later in the show, we'll head out to Philida Elementary, where they had a kindness event of their own. Number 2 is some excited students at Vancouver Flex Academy. Flex is a magnet program and is a certified green school. That honor, handed down from the state, is earned through environmental efforts. In this photo, students are conducting a trash audit to see how much of its refuse is actually recyclables. They're trying to make sure they're recycling as much as possible. Several other VPS schools have qualified as green schools too. And check out this one. It's our number 1. Brian Matheson posted this photo of Bert the dog. He comes to Harney Elementary to help regulate kids' emotions. Kids who need time to calm down are able to spend time around Bert and learn to regulate their emotions with him. Nice job by school counselor Peggy Howdgen and the nonprofit Pet Partners to bring Bert to their school. On February 12th, voters will decide on 2 levies to support Vancouver Public Schools. Neither one is a new tax, but the state funding formula has changed, which has caused some confusion out there. So let's take a look at the 2 levies, what they would do, and how much you will pay. The first is the Education and Operations Levy. It's the same levy that Vancouver voters have continuously approved since 1964. The second is the Technology Levy. It's been in place since 2013 and puts modern technology right into classrooms. The legislature has allocated more money for schools thanks to the McCleary decision by the state Supreme Court, but it's still not enough to cover the district's entire budget. Also, there's now a cap on how much money communities can raise with their local levies. Let's start with the Education and Operations Levy, or E&O. It pays for basic things and for things that parents and community members have told the district are very important for kids to have. Here is a quick list. The E&O levy pays for classroom programs, textbooks and supplies, sports and other extracurricular activities, family community resource centers, special education, increased counselors, special education professionals, maintenance of school grounds, and much more. Many of these would be underfunded or not funded at all without a local levy.
A great example of that is our safety and security staff. The state funding equates to about 11% of the costs that we resource for those purposes within our 39 buildings. The state funds just a little over 4 positions.
The numbers are similar for school nurses. The E&O levy provides funding to pay for an adequate amount to cover all schools. The levy also picks up the slack for special education. The state does not fund the entire cost of services that are mandated by law to meet minimum levels. As we mentioned, the state now caps the amount local districts can collect in levies. The cap is $1.50 per $1,000 of assessed value of a home. That's a significant reduction of what people are paying now, which is $2.64 per 1,000. That means a lower bill for ratepayers. Now onto the technology levy. Community members and educators agree that modern technology is important to prepare students for the workplace of the future, and this levy ensures that kids have access to the technology they definitely will need. The Levy provides students from grade 3 through 12 with personal devices like tablets or laptops, which they use to finish and turn in homework, research, communicate with teachers, and so much more.
Having access to technology opens the world for our students, and it levels the field of opportunity for them. So it's so important that we provide them those experiences while they're here, and we can guide them through some of those experiences.
The Tech Levy also pays for teacher training to make sure educators are up to date on the technology their students are using. It's not about gadgets, it's about opening up the way in which students can learn. Here's the rate for the Tech Levy. It averages out around 31 cents per $1,000 of assessed value of a property starting in 2020 and lasting 6 years. That's 11 cents more than the prior Tech Levy. Altogether, with other local and state levies and bonds, here's what property owners will pay through the life of the levies. Right now, they're paying $7.29 per $1,000 of assessed property value. That number will drop to $5.81 this year. It bounces up slightly after that, but as you can see, it's significantly less than what property owners are used to. And that brings us to a common question. Didn't we just approve a bond? Yes, that is true. In 2017, voters said yes to a bond measure that's paying to build new schools and update existing school buildings. That's what bond measures do. They pay for facilities. They can't pay for salaries. Levies, like the one on the ballot in February, can address a wide variety of needs. Vancouver has long had both levies and bonds to keep our schools in good order. And we know there's a lot to process here, and most voters want to learn as much as they absolutely can. The district website has a lot of information to help with that, including a calculator to figure out what your bill might be. Go to vansd.org/levy. You'll find the numbers, answers to frequently asked questions, and a lot more. It's time now for a We Learn update, a look at how technology is being used in the classroom. The Tech Levy supports lots of classroom programs, and few are as unique as this one. Nick Voll joins us now to show us how students in special education are learning to code. Nick?
That's right, Colleen. Code is all around us. Whatever device you're watching this show on right now is using code to bring it to you, and there are a million other examples. In special education classes, coding is used to not only teach kids about technology, but also logic, organization, and other important life skills. Students in Kim Brown's special education classroom at Philida Elementary are very focused. They're logged into code.org, a program that lets beginners learn how to do computer coding. Right now, they're figuring out how to program robots.
They kind of like when they get out of control and they go crazy, and then they have to figure out how to get them back.
It's a bit of a puzzle.
There's so much problem solving that is so critical to their life, which is why we do it. And a lot of self-taught learning, which is another thing that these kids are going to use a lot in their life.
Many students in Ms. Brown's class are working on controlling their emotions.
So the kids who get frustrated when the robot won't move, or frustrated because they can't solve the coding problem, they start to use those regulation tools instead of having big reactions that are not really appropriate for social settings.
Megan Williams is an instructional technology facilitator for the district. Her job is to help teachers incorporate technology into lessons. She brought the program to Philida and 7 other buildings after getting a grant from the state superintendent's office and the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools.
The idea behind it is to give access to computer science to less represented populations of students in STEM.
STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. This software is drag and drop, so kids can learn the logic of coding without having to memorize programming languages. It also lets them learn from their mistakes.
So it says, okay, no, something's not quite right. So now I can reattach everything, and I can reset it and push run and see what happens.
A former special ed teacher herself, Megan views this program as a way to boost students' self-esteem and perseverance.
Accessing a puzzle, getting a robot to do what you want it to do, all of those little wins along the way, boost them throughout the rest of the day.
Ms. Brown is also seeing the effects of all those little wins.
They've also brought it into their gen ed classes, which is really cool, to teach other kids how to use it. So outside of school, the confidence, the problem-solving skills, just the technology piece has been really powerful for them.
The initial grant will end at the close of this school year, but thanks to the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools, the materials for the program will continue for another year before being reevaluated. Coleen, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Nick. And if you want to see more stories like this one, check out the We Learn playlist on the district's YouTube page. There are several years worth of stories on there, so you can trace the district's commitment to technology in the classroom. It's youtube.com/VanSDTV. It's time now for a Reschools update, the latest on school construction projects paid for with your bond dollars. Although every building in the district will see improvements thanks to the bond, the most exciting projects for a lot of people are new school buildings, and we're starting to see some progress there. Joining us now with an update is Tara Cox. Tara?
Thanks. Truman Elementary School is the latest in a number of groundbreaking ceremonies. Despite the winter weather, students and staff began shoveling some dirt. Third graders, who will be the first graduating class from the new building, joined administrators to turn some dirt. It was a fun atmosphere, and as everyone envisioned what the new school will be like.
Really the excitement around the possibilities and all the work that people have had visioning this work over the last year or so. And they really, before their eyes, will get to see this building come out of the ground and then envision what it's going to be like to be a student, a future-ready student and a learner in that building.
I'm really excited because it'll kind of remind me of my old school where it had 2 stories, but I never got to go on the second story besides library and music. I'm excited for the new school.
Construction on the new Truman will begin immediately. The new building will house as many as 720 students in nearly 40 classrooms. The design has enhanced security features and community spaces. The current Truman building was built in 1970 and replaced an even older building on the site. The new school is scheduled to open in the fall of 2020. A new Martin Luther King Jr. elementary school is on the way, and we're getting our first look at what it will be like. This is an animation created by the project architects. The new school building will be 2 stories and include open collaboration spaces, sliding doors for teachers to open or close their rooms, a new family community resource center, a pair of physical fitness spaces, a large outdoor courtyard, a confined play area for pre-kindergartners, and a lot more. The current King building went up in 1971 and is over capacity with students. The new building will keep up with the area's expanding population. Elsewhere, we're seeing real progress at other building sites. Check out what's happening at Vancouver iTech Preparatory, which is under construction on the WSUV Vancouver campus. Concrete foundations and steel beams are now in place as the building's taking shape. Here's an aerial shot from the new home of McLaughlin Middle and Marshall Elementary schools. They're being built as conjoined buildings, sharing a kitchen and other spaces. You can see the footprint starting to take shape as concrete is poured into place. At Ogden, there's even more progress. Walls are up, which is good because the school is scheduled to open this coming fall. In addition to these projects, we're also seeing updates at a number of schools, including new classrooms at Harney Elementary and new playgrounds all over the district. Back to you.
Thanks, Tara. If you want to get more information on the bond projects, head to vansd.org/reschools. You'll see plans for school improvements, what's happened so far, and a whole lot more. Again, vansd.org/reschools. Students across the country recently had the day off school to celebrate the National Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. It's a time to reflect on the impact of Dr. King. And here to tell us how they remember his life and lessons at Philida Elementary is Amanda Richter. Amanda?
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. left an incredible legacy. To honor him and his legacy, students here at Philida Elementary took some time to focus on one particular area of emphasis for Dr. King: kindness.
Students are hard at work doing something nice for somebody else.
It's good helping other people because you know you're doing something right.
It's part of Philida's Day of Kindness, which sprang from their annual assembly to honor Dr. King.
We just decided we can do more, and why not turn this into an opportunity for all of our students to give back.
Students made care packages for homeless people. They made pet toys. They painted rocks with inspirational messages, which they later spread around town. Students made a card with positive messages for another school in the district. They hope their card will start a chain of cards around the district and Philida's kindness movement will spread.
I'm really proud of our staff for embracing this, but I'm especially proud of our student leaders who took this on with a vengeance.
Through this project, Philida students are realizing the importance of empathy.
It's important to do something for other people because then you know how they feel. Like they're less privileged than you, so you kind of want to help out.
Sometimes if they're feeling down or others don't feel their best, if you do something for them, it will make them feel better and have more confidence. And if you give them a special message or something, they might take it to heart and make them feel better.
I'm really open to seeing how this instills kindness on a daily level, how kids are inspired each day to do kindness toward each other beyond what they already do.
Students also studied the work and words of Dr. King and shared what they learned at the assembly. One of the main takeaways for kids is perseverance.
You should never, ever give up, no matter how hard it gets.
Even if people try to bring you down or even if people try to stop you, you should continue. Try to be your best, be the best person you can possibly be.
Inside Vancouver Public Schools, I'm Amanda Richter.
Thanks, Amanda. Principal Chris Giannotti told us they hope to expand the project next year, possibly working with students from Thomas Jefferson Middle School. And take a look at this. After Amanda filled this story, Principal Giannotti delivered a huge bundle of cards over to Sacagawea Elementary. SAC's principal, Travis Bond, accepted the cards and says his students will follow Philida's lead and make their own cards to pass along to another school. How cool is that? Well, kindergartners from Chinook Elementary got a lesson on taking care of their teeth thanks to local dentists, and they also hosted a special visitor, the Tooth Fairy. Nick Vole got to meet her and shared this report.
That's right. The world's foremost expert came to share her wisdom on teeth with the kids.
We need to take really good care of these teeth.
Her lesson included which foods might give you cavities and which won't.
Oh, it's good to start early. We want to make sure they have good habits for the rest of their lives.
1, 2, 3.
It was her first year visiting Chinook, but the 5th for doctors Rick and Nicole Wolfgram. They had students pretend to be teeth so they could show them the proper way to brush and floss.
I'm really surprised sometimes when I hear even adults say, oh, you only need to brush once a day, right? It's good for adults and kids to just get into that habit of brushing in the morning, brushing at night, and flossing every day.
Dr. Rick works for Adventure Dental in Vancouver, which also provided goodie bags for the kids. We asked the students, what happens to your teeth when you eat sugary foods?
Give them disease and cavities. I almost forgot cavities. You have to lose a whole jaw. Our Dustin lost a whole jaw of his grown-up teeth up top.
So what are you supposed to do to prevent that?
To floss and brush every day.
Thanks so much, Nick. Well, February is National Children's Dental Health Month, so moms and dads, it's a great time to encourage those healthy habits with your kids. Vancouver welcomed a huge group of young performers from China who wowed a crowd at Roosevelt Elementary. They also visited Vancouver iTech Preparatory. Their performance featured singing, dancing, and a whole lot of goodwill.
Good afternoon, my dear friends. My name is Panruo Han. I'm 11 years old, and I'm a young dancer of Shanghai Children's Palace Little Companion Art Troupe. Today, we are very happy to come here to have culture exchange and activities with you. Now, we're going to present you several performances with full of national characteristics. Hope you enjoy them.
Three dancers from the Shanghai Children's Welfare Palace performed for a rapt audience at Roosevelt Elementary School. The Welfare Palace was formerly an orphanage, but now hosts a huge after-school program with more than 2,000 students. This is about the 10th year the organization has sent students to the Portland-Vancouver area to share their culture and learn about ours. The dancers were joined by a choir from the Shanghai Lida Private Middle School, and this was the first time they have visited our area. You see the excitement on the faces of the performers and the kids in the crowd as they connect with students from half a world away. This is the first time Vancouver Public Schools has hosted an event like this, which was organized in part by the Polaris Dance Theater in Portland. Let's take a look at the big picture now, our favorite image from social media. This photo was posted by Jen Havoc. Her daughter Abby decided to go as a librarian for Houck Elementary School's Dress as the Grown-Up You Want to Be Day. What a cute picture and a great testament to the power of reading. Nice work, Abby. And let's see what's happening this month in Vancouver Public Schools. This is a popular one, No School for President's Day. That's set for February 18th this year. It's the last federal holiday for a while, so let's all make sure we do something presidential with the time off. And that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us here, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, I'm Coleen Jamison.